Alrighty, here we are on this basement door project. We removed the door so that we could install these green steel plates that were already painted powder coated green. And then also, main reason we were doing all this was because a lot of water was running down the door and running into the concrete at the bottom edge, because it was just sitting on plain concrete. So we put these steel plates. You can see it rained last night, and the water, there's a little bit of puddling on it, but it is actually sloped away from the house and away from the door. And I caulked with a clear caulking this new stuff called AMP amp by DAP. It's supposed to be better than silicone, so we'll see if it actually works or not. So far it seems pretty good. It's a nice clear caulking, so you can do the transition between like the concrete of the house and the wood that's painted blue. We had to remove that little wood strip, so that's why it's got those chunks of missing where we pulled out the nails that were holding it in. And underneath that is a little metal flange that screwed to the side of the wood of the house in the door opening inside. So, and then we added this single ply roofing that is self-stick gravel to put over the top of your old roof. It's flexible. It can actually be heated and melted with a torch. And we actually had to replace the whole bottom row of block along the wall with new blocks. You can see over here, this is one of the corner pieces. That's what the left of the block. The block literally just crumbled into a pile of dust when we took it off. It was repaired with screws and nails in it, and then cement over it and stuff like that. And we had tried putting dry lock masonry seal on it and stuff, but the water would run down and get into the seam between the steel and the dry lock and run into the wall. So it soaked in there and disintegrated things. I'm probably going to add some pieces of block along this bottom edge here. I have a few extra blocks over there and out front. That'll be just the right size to make like a step, so it's nice and level coming in here. You can see we screwed down the threshold right here with the blue Tapcon screws, because those we could just drill right through the plate, drill right through the threshold, and make it, then ream the threshold with a what do you call it, a little 45-degree angle reaming bit. And we put the red head bolts into the actual old bolt holes. We had to drill out old anchors. If I had it to do over again, I would have actually put the holes in different spots, drilled new holes, because we ran into the old anchors that were lead with steel that had rusted, and the bolts snapped off in a few of them. So the bolt was snapped off, and it made it very difficult to drill the holes in just the right spot. We pulled the door off, drilled the holes, and then the bolt wasn't perfectly lined up, and we had to play around with it to get it to line up. So, but now we're at the stage where we're just got to go around, touch up a few little spots with the white paint on the inside here. And I got actually, rather than buy the kit from Bilco, I actually bought rubber trunk molding that I'm going to put along these edges to help keep it a little more airtight in the winter and keep dust and snow and rain and stuff from blowing in around the edges of the door, and hopefully that'll make it a little more weather tight. But I just bought rubber weather stripping that's similar to what the Bilco door people had for much cheaper when you just buy it on Amazon. And the ends of the little caps that they put on these two little end pieces right here are pretty much just a piece of foam that you could get from some packaging or something and glue in there with some double-sided tape. So it's not really a good reason to buy that. And then our next project is going to be on this whole thing. The whole reason we started this was the doors, because the wall was always wet. You can see there's rust stains down there. I had pressure washed this wall, scraped off the loose dry lock that didn't stick well to the old wall, and we're going to put new dry lock over this whole wall and then put new metal stringers. The stringers hold up the wooden steps that were here. Were up against the wall, and they were plain steel with paint on them on the outside, so I painted them again, but you couldn't get to the inside where the water was coming through the wall and rusted the heck out of them, and then the stringers broke, and I had to, you know, basically rip out the steps so somebody wouldn't die walking down the stairs, because they were snapped off inside. The metal had rusted away so badly it broke when I stepped on it. So now we're gonna have to basically rebuild the stairs in there and coat the wall and do a little touch up on the paint job, and then we should be all done with this, hopefully. Alrighty. And here we are in the basement. You can see the red capped anchors. They basically drill a hole a little deeper than the anchor is, slide it into the hole, and then you just tighten it up with a wrench. There's two of these up here. They happen to go into holes that were a little higher up than the original anchors were. And these two over here, same thing, they were just above the original. You can see the clear caulking, you can actually see through it, that I put in all along the door, and it's got weather stripping too while we were putting it together. This one here happened to wind up perfectly on top of an existing lead anchor, so we just threw a lag bolt into it, and these are just the red cap anchors. You can see the tops of the Tapcon screws. We got like about 2.5 inch long by 5/16 or maybe it was, or something, or 1/4 inch. And these holes here were already existing. They were pounded in and dented into there, but I actually drilled these extra ones out because the corners were a little bit popped up, you know, from the steel plates holding it up. So I wanted to make sure it was tight, so I put these in and then just drilled out the holes with a tapered drill bit to match these original ones and help hold it down a little bit more securely. And all we gotta do is a little bit of touch up on the paint and spots we missed, and we should be good to go to paint all this inside here and put the steps back in. The stair stringers are basically just a piece of galvanized. They came pre-rusted, which was great. I wish I would have bought the Bilco ones, but these are the other brand, the other people who make these stair stringers. I'm gonna cut them off and cut them to exactly the right shape and fit. On the corners there, I marked them and stuff, try them for fit, and then sand them a little and put some cold galvanizing compound over the rust areas before I put them in. Hopefully, you know, like I said, with the waterproofing on the walls, they should hold up better to the cold weather, and the dampness out here and all that of the walls will be drier, I'm hoping, than the old ones were. All right, we'll see you in the next one.